Hello everyone, welcome to the session. First of all, thanks to DSC KIET for having me here today. I am just more than excited to be here and to share my learnings with you all. So before getting into it, a little introduction about myself. I am Manvi, a UI UX designer and a front-end developer. I love communities and I love to contribute to communities and that is what I'm doing from past 2-3 years. So at the bottom, at the rate Manvi Singhwal, it is my handle on all the social media platforms. Feel free to follow or connect with me. If you have any doubts, questions, I will be more than happy to answer them. So today I will be talking about UI UX design. Here we will take a look at what is the difference between UI UX design, how to get started in design, what are the different principles of design, what are the steps in the design process, and what all are the tools that you can start with, and everything. So let's begin. So, many people still ask this question: what is the actual difference between UI and UX design? Because these two domains are often confused. So understanding the proper meaning of the terms are really necessary. So let's first understand these two terms better. So number one thing that you need to understand is that UI is not UX. Many people consider them same, but they are not. Why? So first of all, what is UI? UI is how things look. It is the process of making interfaces in software with a focus on looks or style. What? Focus on style? What does that mean? Let's take an example. Let's take an example of any e-commerce app. Let's suppose Flipkart. So whatever we can see, like while opening the app, whatever we can see on the screen, those buttons, those images, those videos, the typography, that is what UI is. That means we are focusing on looks or style. We are focusing on how we can make the thing beautiful or more accessible. While on the other side, UX, it is a process. That means how actually thing works. It is all about creating amazing experiences for the user. Means what? If we are taking an example of e-commerce app, let's suppose how easy is the checkout process when shopping online. Because our end goal is to, if we are talking about e-commerce app, our end goal is how easily our user can purchase things online. So that is what UX means. We create amazing experiences for our user. Let's now understand these two terms are more deeply. So let's start with UI. That means user interface design. So what is UI design? As I already mentioned, we focus on looks and style. That means what to make, visual elements, how desirable it is, and we focus on tools. So the user interface is the graphical layout of an application of a product. UI consists of the buttons user click on, the images, videos, text, and overall interactions and the behavior of the application. So the main goal of the UI designer is to create a user interface that is engaging, interactive, and beautiful. So that is what, how to make or what to make. What are the visual elements we can use? That means icons and all the images, or if we are working on some video, what sort of video we can put on, what all are the colors that we can use, how desirable, if we are making some product, how desirable it is. So we focus on tools, like on which tool we can create our design. So this is what a UI designer do. It definitely takes a good eye for design and a lot of practice to get better in UI designing. The thing that I realized until the time I started in UI design is that design is not at all about learning to use design softwares. Trust me, anyone can do that. But you need to learn the process, the strategy of the design. Like if you're creating this, why you are doing that? Try to understand that, think about that. And in UI design, you need to experiment and understand your user and their journey throughout using your product. You have to, keep yourself from beginning to the end. Like if you are making this, then why you are making this? Always keep this why in your mind. The thing that I'm talking about, that to get better in UI design, the only key is practice. Yes, practice is the key. Try to implement things by your own. Take inspiration, but do not copy. There's a difference between inspiration and copy. Take inspiration, but make them with your psychology, with your things, that why that they made this because they made them with their psychology, but you create them with yours. Why you're making this, what you want to get from it. So yeah, think all of these things and then create. So practice is the key. Practice, practice, and practice. Practice makes a man perfect, as it is a great well-known saying. So yeah, I hope UI design is pretty clear to you guys. So now let's move ahead and let's understand what is UX design. So UX means user experience. As the name depicts, user experience. How beautiful we can create experiences for our users. So in UX design, we think about what to achieve, experiences, how credible the design is, and we focus on interactions. So a UX designer thinks about how the experience make the user feel and how easy it is for the user to accomplish their desired task. You have to know your user, who your user are, what they want to achieve using your app. For example, how easy is the checkout process when shopping online? The overall process of UX design is to create easy, relevant, and amazing experiences for the user. Design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works. It is a well-known saying by Steve Jobs. Yes, that is where and why user experience plays an important role. Design is not just what it looks like. It what it means. It feels what it basically design means how it feels like, how it works, how basically it works. Like we can create beautiful interfaces, but definitely if we are failed to create to give our user a better experiences, then it is of no use. So when designing a product, you need to keep user experience in mind. You don't want to create a product that is very complicated than the actual problem a user have. Humans don't like to be confused, trust me, they don't. When we are designing, we are trying to make the process clear and less confusing for them, so that they can have great experience while keeping the design beautiful. Definitely both of the things are important. If the user are leaving because your product is too difficult to use, you may want to check, what all are the functionality that you can uh, rearrange to make it easier to use. So always keep usability in mind while working on user interface. That means what is the main thing that my user want to achieve with your app. When a user has an amazing experience, it means they will choose that product over others. So it is really important to understand the complete psychology of the user, and for that, definitely research is the key. If I talk about myself, if I talk about any food delivery app, so I genuinely like Swiggy, and I will choose that app or others. There are a lot of alternatives, but I will choose Swiggy because I really like the experience. It is really easy for me to use, and the experience is really amazing. So that is how usability plays an important role. So always remember that make it less difficult to use. Make your product really easy and really understandable, so that user do not leave in between. So that is the key. I hope UI and UX design is quite clear to you guys. I hope now the terms really make you understandable, and you know like what basically these two terms are. Let's move ahead. And let's just understand one more thing, that it is important to understand this UX and UI do go hand in hand. You can't have one other without the other, though you don't need to possess UI design skills to be a UX designer and vice versa. What does this mean? Definitely, if we go back and understand that UI is also important and UX is also important. UI is waste without UX and UX is waste without UI. They both go hand in hand. But it is not important that you should know UI design skills to be a UX designer and UX design skills to be a UI designer. So you can just have one, or it is good to go if you had two. But it is not really important that you possess both of the skills. Yeah, so I hope it is clear. Let's move ahead and let's get started with another big questions, that how to get started with UI UX design. Yes, this is also an important thing to know, how one can start with designing. I will be sharing completely my experience, like how I get started in designing. So yeah, let's stay tuned. So like any other user, any other enthusiast, I also started with the YouTube. Yes, Be it programming, I learned programming also from YouTube, and in designing I also started with YouTube only. So I have mentioned these four channels, though, which is really really amazing. They share amazing content, amazing YouTube tutorials. You guys should check them off. That is Design Course, Carol Advanced, Agent Smart, and Google Design. They share amazing content on design. You guys should definitely check them out. Try to understand their psychology, but do not copy. Understand what they're doing and try to implement them according to your psychology. That is how you will learn. Another thing is that is really important, means read articles. Read articles, write articles. Try to write down, pen down your learnings. It will help you to understand that, where you lack or how you should improve. So Medium has amazing publications like UX Planets, UX Collective, Muslim. Subscribe to these publications, read articles, and share your learnings. Read others' experiences. Try to read others' case studies, other experiences with design, other design tutorials. That is how you can grow in design. Another thing is social media. You will be thinking like, social media, really? Like definitely social media, you will be thinking that, always use social media wisely. There are amazing Instagram profiles, amazing. There are amazing designers who are sharing their knowledge on Instagram via small posts. So do like their page, do connect with them, uh, uh, understand that how they are doing it. So because social media is amazing platform to share your learning and to connect with like-minded people. So choose social media wisely. So yeah, so this is also an important thing. I also follow amazing designers and I try to understand their psychology and what they want to convey. So yeah, this is also an important step. Move ahead. Another one is how to take inspirations. Yes, it is also an important point. As I already mentioned, take inspiration but do not copy. And for that, you can use Dribble and Behance. There are amazing designers from all over the world who share their work. So yeah, you should follow those designers and try to understand their work, why they are doing certain things. So yeah, understand their point of view and then try to convert them, try to implement them according to your psychology. Another thing is meetups. Isn't it amazing? Yeah, meetups. So like I also organize a lot of technology events, and so do you, I know. That is what we are doing, and that is we should always do to share our knowledge. So there are also like technology events. There are also design meetups. You should attend them so that you can understand what other designers are doing and what the design field is up to get up to date. So yeah, this is also an important thing. This is what I really do. Another thing is practice, practice, and practice. Practice and ask for feedbacks from fellow designers. Yes, if I talk about my experience, when I'm getting started with design, I still remember, and I am really really thankful to Saptarshi. He's a Swiggy product design manager at Swiggy. So he really helped me a lot to get started in it. He mentored me, and he is kind enough to always answer to my queries. So that is how you can connect with the fellow designers to make your design and ask for the feedbacks, connect with the like-minded people. That is what communities are for, to connect with the people who are from your same field. Try to connect with them, try to talk to them. Don't bug them unnecessary, but yes, if you have some certain doubts, trust me, nobody will say no. People are really really nice these days. They try to help you out as much as they can. So yes, so always use social media wisely. Yeah, so that is how I get started in design. I definitely do a lot of practice. I am not I can't say that I'm pro in it, but yes, I can do a certain things. Yeah. So yeah, so that is how I get started in design. I hope you guys can start with design by following these steps now. Yes. So let's move ahead and let's talk about principles of design. What are the principles of design? This is really really important. So though there are a lot of principles, but now I will talk about the few points that is really really important to understand and to focus on. Let's start with the typography. Yes, it is one of the important point. That means there is a great saying about typography that it can make or break a product. Yes, you heard it right. It can make or break a product. So let's understand what basically I'm trying to convey by typography. So there are two types of fonts, that is serif fonts and sans serif fonts. So let's talk about serif fonts first. What basically serif fonts means? Serif fonts have some decorative stroke at the end, and what they try to convey, if we are using serif fonts, they are trying to convey that it is traditional, established, and trustworthy, and this usually make them a good fit for companies who wants to appear more reputable, established, and serious. Yes, let's take example. See, Georgia, it is an example of serif fonts. It has this, if you can see, it has this decorative stroke at the end. It is making it look quite modern. So that is how. Let's see some of the examples of the companies that are using serif fonts. That is Instagram. As you can see, they are quite modern. Pinterest, Coca-Cola. And now let's try to understand their psychology behind using serif fonts. If we go back and see, trustworthy, established, traditional. Now let's, and yeah, reputable, established, and serious. If we go back, Instagram is a social platform. That means we are trusting it, we are sharing our pictures and everything, we are connecting with people. So maybe that is why they are using serif fonts. They are trying to, maybe they are trying to convey trustworthy aspect here. So that is how you should always try to use typography. Always think why you are making this product and what you are trying to convey. That is why typography plays an important role, and that is why it can break or make a product. Always think about these things. They are little small things, but they impact a lot on your product. Another one is sans serif fonts. Sans serif fonts are very clean and it has very precise ends. It don't have any these decorative fonts. So examples, so what they want to feel, what they want to convey is casual, informal, friendly, and very approachable. Let's see an example. Arial font, it is an example of sans serif font. Can you see it is very clear? See, it don't have any stroke, it is very clear. Let's see some examples of the company that are using sans serif fonts. LinkedIn, Facebook, Airbnb, these all are the big companies, product companies that are using sans serif fonts. That means if we go back now, let's suppose Facebook. Facebook means it is informal, definitely. It is very casual, definitely. It is very friendly, definitely. And very approachable, definitely. If we think about Facebook psychology, according to us, what Facebook is, it means we can connect with our friends, we can share our things on Facebook. So that is why they are using sans serif fonts, because it conveys that it is casual, informal, friendly, and very approachable. Isn't it amazing? So always think about typography. Always think that why, if you are using serif fonts, then why? If you want to use sans serif font, then why? Always keep this why in your mind in design. That is why is really amazing and important in our design thinking. Let's move ahead and let's okay, I also need to discuss a few things about typography. That is a few learnings that you can implement in your design, that don't mix too many fonts. Always keep it up to 2 fonts. If you use more than 2, then it will make your website or app look very unstructured. Always think about the mood of the font you choose. As I already mentioned, if you are using serif Y, if you are using sans serif Y, always keep this Y in your mind. Another thing is, choose a typeface that works well in various sizes. That means, see, if you are creating something, that means your user will access that product from devices with different screen sizes and resolution. It is important to choose a typeface that works well in multiple sizes. So yeah, to maintain readability. So always try to think, choose a typeface that work well in all the screens. So yeah, so these all are the things that you should always keep in mind while choosing, while working with typography. So I hope typography is pretty clear to you guys. And rest, I am just talking here. Rest you will understand while practicing. So go back and practice and start with design. It is really an amazing field. So another thing is color theory. Again, an amazing and important aspects of visual hierarchy of design, a principle of design. So what color theory is? So if you can see, every color depicts different mood, be it yellow, be it red, be it orange, be it purple, be it blue, green, brown, white, black. What yellow depicts? Yellow means warmth, creativity, and energy. Red depicts passion, danger. Orange means optimism. Green depicts true nature. Blue depicts peace. So that is how we different colors have different aspects, different moods. So if we see educational websites or apps, they generally use blue color. Why? Because it depicts trust, that you can trust us. So that is how you should always think, that if you are using this particular color, what you want to convey with that. Okay, so that is how color theory works, and that is how you should always keep color in your mind, that if you are using that particular thing, what you basically try to convey. So to understand these theories, look into any app or website and try to understand which technique or design principle they are using to make the design look beautiful and what emotion they are trying to convey. So go back and look any of the website, maybe Swiggy, maybe Flipkart, or maybe any educational startup websites, and Slack. So there are amazing websites or products that are using, that is on the market, and they are doing an amazing work in aspects of design. So go back and look into them and try to understand like what they are trying to convey. That is how you will analyze. So that is why design is an amazing field, that you have always have to think why and what behind it. I hope color theory is quite clear to you guys. Move ahead and let's talk about visual hierarchy. What is visual hierarchy? Visual hierarchy is the order in which a user processes information on a page. Its function in the user interface design is to allow users to understand the information easily. What does that mean? Yeah, let's understand. So number one thing, visual hierarchy, the number one important thing is size. Size, yes, it is really important. Now let's see as an example. I have shared one example here. So if we look into this design, what you will see first, definitely you will read this first, because it is really bold and it has an amazing size. And then it you will read this line, because it is a bit um, small in size, the font is bit small in size. And then you will read this one, and then you will go upward and read this one. So this is a clear philosophy of any of us, maybe the user or anyone. So that is how size plays an important role. If you are creating a website, try to understand what you really want your user to focus on, your main thing, like what basically your product do. So you definitely want your user to see that first. So that is why size plays an important role. Always try to play with primary and secondary text. Always try to understand what you basically want your user to look up to. So that is why size plays an important role. Moving on, another thing is color. Again, color also isn't very important, as like size. First you will see this, then you will see this, then you will see this. So always try to play with colors efficiently. As like design, always think that what you want your user to first focuses on, and show them that thing. So that is how color also plays an important role. Yes, another thing is spacing, type space and alignment. Let's learn what spacing is. Spacing means like your letter spacing, your line spacing. Spacing plays an important role. It creates structure and harmony in design. So always think like, always so this you will learn by using experiments. Learn, think that how it is working, how the user will see different design in different screens. So try to experiment with this and always put a good spacing, because it creates a structure, repetition, and harmony in design. So yeah, spacing plays an important role too. Another one is typeface. As I already talked about that, That means be it serif and sans serif, first try to understand what you want to convey and use the typeface accordingly. Another one is alignment. What does that mean, alignment? Yes, I hope you already know that, whether a text is left aligned, whether a text is right aligned, whether text is middle aligned. What does, how it works. Let's take the example of a navbar. The logo and all the page links, we always align them horizontally. So, whenever a user will see it aligned horizontally, you immediately associate this as a navbar and are familiar with the relationship of each page link. That is how alignment is important. Always think that, if you are making certain text on left align or right align, what you try to convey, always think in design perspective, and always keep your design thinking in mind. That is how these all are the principles of design that you should always keep in your mind while creating any design. So yes, these all are really, really important. I hope this is quite clear to you guys. Let's move on and let's now understand another important thing is steps in the design process. What all are the steps that you should follow while creating design? So the number one thing is research. As I am talking about it from the beginning of this session, understand the user. Yes, research is the key. If you are creating any product, like suppose if you're creating an e-commerce app, try to understand that if your user is using that product, why he is here, what he wants to get out of it, what his expectations are. So always keep in mind research, understand the user, understand their journey, and that is how and that is the important thing in our design. Another thing is IA, that is information architecture. Yes, so if you're taking example of e-commerce app, so if you're talking about Flipkart, there are amazing more e-commerce app available. There are many alternatives, that is maybe Amazon, Myntra. So always do your research. Always think about how other app is doing, how they are doing that particular task that you are focusing on, how they are solving their users' problem. So that is why information architecture plays an important role. I hope this is quite clear. So yeah, so these two steps are really, really important. That is research and information architecture. Always pay great attention to these two before creating the actual design. Now another step, that is wireframing. Yes, it is really, really important step that everyone should consider. What basically wireframes are and why should I use wireframes? Always maybe you have this question, why wireframes? I can directly go to the visual designing, but no, always create wireframing to get a clear picture of the elements. Now let's understand what wireframes are. A wireframes is the blueprint of your website. The main purpose is to show the client how the website will look before designing. Yes, let's suppose you didn't start with the wireframes and directly created a website or maybe an app, and the client, if you are doing any freelancing or if you are creating this for your company or for your organization, and they didn't like a certain thing, maybe they wanted a button on other side, but you have directly created the design. So what you will now do, you will have to make the corrections one by one, which requires a lot of time and pain. So that is where wireframe plays a great role in. One of the greatest advantages of wireframing is that it provides an early visual. Means by creating a simple website structure, you can quickly make changes to meet your client's need. You don't have to change the entire thing, because this is what you are creating roughly. Your rough thing that you are creating. Yes, so this is what wireframing are. So if I talk about my experiences, I make my wireframes on pen and paper first, because putting your thoughts on a piece of paper can spark so many new ideas when you are starting with digital design. So I always use pen and paper to create my design thinking, that why I want this to be on left side and why I want to be it on right side. But there are many tools available, many digital tools are available for wireframing, that is Balasamic or wireframes.cc, and there are many amazing tools for that, so you can definitely check them out. Yeah. So you should always consider third step in your mind, that is wireframing. Now another thing is visual design. That means actually creating a design on any of the design software. That means you can use any of the design software. Now you have your wireframes ready. Now you can directly implement them in your design. Like you can choose colors, you can choose your images, you can choose your like if you want to put your videos or any video on your design, you can choose what video you. So now you are playing with visuals, now you are playing with icons, now you are playing with colors, now you are playing with typography. So that is why wireframes plays an important role. So now you have your visual design ready. So the fourth step is visual design, actually creating the design. Now the last step is prototyping. Prototyping is really amazing and you should definitely do that to make it feel real, because here we are designing, we are not making any code, we are just designing. So we want to, how to, you want your app to make it feel real, so that is why you prototype. Apart from, if you want to showcase your design to someone, to your client, to your organization, apart from showing your screens one by one, why not to prototype it, why not to make it feel real. Now let's talk about the tools. So we have different tools for designing, that is Figma, Adobe XD and Sketch. So I generally like three of them, but Sketch is only for Mac users. So if you have Mac, you can use it, but Figma is really amazing, and Adobe XD too. They use in any, they can be working in any of the operating system, be it Windows, be it Linux, and anything. So you can definitely check Figma and Adobe XD. They have amazing features for prototyping. For you can also make prototyping in that. So yeah, so these two tools are really amazing. Adobe XD is really amazing to use, really simple, and Figma. If I talk about advantages of Figma, Figma is really cool because if you are working in a big team, so it will be very easy for designers to contribute to one another design. Yeah, so that is why Figma, I really genuinely like Figma. And prototyping is also, it has some amazing feature for prototyping as well. So yeah, so you should definitely check Figma and Adobe XD. So yeah, so that is how you can start with the UI designing. Yeah, so that's it for today's session. I hope you understand a few of all the things. If you have any doubt or any questions, just connect with me on any of these handles. So I'm available as @Manvi Singhwal on Twitter, @Binary Beauty on Instagram, and @Manvi Singhwal on Medium. I share a lot of articles there related to design. You can follow me there, and you can read all of my experiences with design there. So yeah, thank you. It is such amazing session, and thank you DSC KIET for having me here. I'm just super excited, and I hope to interact with you guys someday, not virtually but face to face. Thank you.